I'm starting to sign on to live stream.
Don't you go every week, so it's, you know.
I didn't go last week, I was
I know,
more than
yeah,
15.
yeah.
I worked. A little more leeway, you know, April 15th feels like
A little ways away.
3 weeks away.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
It's a little bit, I'm out. I lent you to the,
I don't see it.
Okay, folks, in case you just for announcement sakes, the live stream is up. The live stream is up.
Lou, come over here, please. Do I have to do this again?
people see me every shot.
What's up?
Let's go back to, here, live stream. Okay, here we are.
Are we on? We're on. Yeah, I see your hand. Okay.
Yeah, I can see me. I can see both of us. We're not
Okay,
moving
so
too
you're good.
fast. Yeah, good, okay.
As long as you can see the chat.
You can hear us, we can't hear you.
Is the
I'm gonna
chat,
hang up on this, or do you
is
want me
the
to leave
chat
it up?
enabled?
Bye. So,
You know, we had the chat disabled.
I know, I asked Tony to ask him to re-enable it.
Okay, see, scroll up. This is what I'm looking at.
Yep.
Go ahead, get Tony.
We only need 6 people to build a real quorum. 6 people. Yeah, okay. Well, that's what she was asking you. Okay, just take a big vote. Actually, they're frozen. They're probably be 5, 6 hours.
Careful there.
Yeah, I just disconnected myself too.
Plugged in there?
No, 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 no. Okay, you cannot hear, no one's talking yet. No, no.
I know, so what do you want to do now?
I'm good. Doris, can you hear me? Sure. But it looks like it's frozen. Okay. He's working on the chat. On yours, does it say chat enabled or disabled? No, the chat is at the top of the screen. If you look at it off to the side of the screen, don't do full screen. Yep. Lou, do we have to sign on and off again? Do we have to sign off and back on for the chat to come here?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Is this the men's club section? Yes, it is.
Just refresh.
Oh, you're joking. Okay, I'll go right down. Yeah, otherwise. Okay. Yeah, it was a lot said. You did a great job.
Top chat.
Okay, it's working. Doris, refresh your screen, Doris. Okay. So you can call me. I'm going to put my ringer on silent. listen. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay. It just came through my speaker just now. So it's supposed to. Okay, I think we can get started. Okay, got it. Yeah, so you kind of talk to that microphone, to this microphone.
Thank you. He's a good boy. All you have to do is walk him and give him snacks. Of course. I do that.
Yes, dear. No, it's easier for you. I'm just basically gonna introduce you.
I'm not giving you snacks. Yeah, I have you snacks.
Is everybody else coming?
I don't know, we may give you a separate can if we can't find enough people, but we need 6 people. We used to have a problem, but these people aren't with us.
Should I vote for Jen?
See, I don't know. You really have to wonder how you would vote. Yeah.
We are voting. We have about
And you know, it's funny, I always thought that it was a family
put
meal.
it in there.
I didn't realize it was two.
Would you just trim your beard?
Usually at the bottom of the screen.
I know, I just thought it was one per family. I guess because my husband.
Yeah, two.
Plain brown porridge.
Doris, it appears that you and I are the only ones on live chat, on live stream. I'm sorry, I am not Rabbi Joe. I heard that. I've been compared to Rabbi Joe, but totally not true.
I can see the back of my head.
Susan, you want to get started? No, it's one key I don't have. Only Tony has it.
Whomever? I was looking to see, you see the back of my head.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to our congregational meeting. The agenda for today is to approve the revised bylaws and constitution, and I would like to defer to Barry to go over the major changes for those people who are not on the board and do not know all the ins and outs. So, Barry?
Sure. The first thing I want to do is give the rules of the road. voting eligible members to make a quorum. There are 32 family units that are paid current to this date, through the end of February, excuse me. There are 38 single units. The family units count as 2, so that's 64. That doesn't mean they're here. The only people present, as the rabbi has said, to make a minyan, you have to be in the room. So you don't make a minyan unless you're in the room. You don't count for the quorum unless you're in the room. You also must be paid up through the end of February to be in the room. You don't count if you haven't been paid up. You know who you are if you haven't paid your dues. There are a total of 102 eligible people. That's husband and wife is in the count. 5% makes a quorum. You math majors out there will undoubtedly understand that 6 people make a quorum. Actually, 5 and a little bit over 5. So we rounded it to 6 whole people. We apparently have 6 people in the room. That's very good. Okay, I am going to go over the changes only. Oh, one other thing. Board members are not going to be given an opportunity to talk. They've all unanimously approved the bylaws and Constitution as being presented today. So there's no reason for them to have anything to say unless they want to clarify something, but no changes from them. And as a matter of fact, the bylaws clearly state that if you want to make an amendment to the bylaws, you have to present it to this body, 2/3 vote of eligible voters in the room to get it passed on to the executive board, to get it passed on to the board, to get it passed on to the next congregational meeting, which will be in April, which is called the nominating meeting. Is that clear? All right, let's see if I can say it a different way. All board members present have no opportunity to talk. Why? Because they passed it unanimously. It's what we're presenting. By the way, you realize we've sent this off to the legal team. The legal team responded too late to include it here. So we're going to have another vote in the nominations meeting to pass the final bylaws, in which time you have opportunity to make amendments to what we're presenting now. But these are going to be voted on as they are, so we may proceed with our new program of making the congregation bylaws and Constitution more appropriate to our size and the direction we're heading in.
Does that mean we can vote in favor of the request an amendment? We can't request, even though...
You can request an amendment which will be presented to the board, the executive board, the board, and finally to the, but that amendment here today has to pass by 2/3 of the eligible voters. Okay? And then, so there's a couple of points that need to be clarified, I feel. So I'm going to go through the Constitution, if you have your Constitution with you. The Constitution has very little changes. The one change you'll spot in the Constitution is in Article 2, Section 3, and I'll read it to you. The organization selected to receive the assets at the time of liquidation, dissolution, or any other means, any other word you want to use, but it stipulates here specifically, the congregation shall be affiliated to the United Synagogue. That's all. That's Article 2. Let's see. Article 2. Okay. Upon liquidation or dissolution, all properties and assets remaining after paying or providing, I'm reading Article 2, Section 2 of the original and the proposed. They're exactly the same. Upon liquidation, all remaining property and assets after paying or providing for all debts and obligations shall be distributed to a nonprofit fund foundation, or corporation which is organized exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, literary, or education purposes, which is about everything, has established its tax-exempt status under a 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. Now, paragraph 3 says, the organization selected to receive these assets are the TBE Endowment Fund managed by the Jewish Community Foundation of Orange County, designed to support the Orange County Federation's Passport to Jewish Life program or its successor or similar programs, and the United Synagogue of America, Southwest Region, in amounts as directed by the Temple Beth Emet Board of Directors. The only change there is it used to say United Synagogue, followed by University of Judaism. We have changed it to the foundation that is being set up, or has been set up, called the Passport Foundation, to supply scholarships, etc., for the youth of Orange County. Jewish youth of Orange County, correct. That's the only change to the Constitution. And to that fact, the legal team has not made any changes. Oh, the last paragraph. Oh, right, because of the rabbinic situation that we're in. So I'll read the last one. Whenever there shall develop among the members of the congregations differences of opinion with regard to any religious law or custom bearing on the congregation's activities, proposed or established after consulting with a rabbi, the rabbi's ruling shall be binding on the congregation instead of our rabbi, which it used to state. It used to state, proposed establishment of consult with the rabbi. And then it followed with the United Synagogue. Yes. We're in the Constitution.
Yeah, I know, but a rabbi could be any rabbi.
That's true. Any rabbi.
Orthodox or
Any rabbi, yes. Yes.
show me where it says that. It says that someplace else, because it says that we have to follow the laws of conservative Judaism.
That's correct.
So you can pick and choose what rabbi you want, right?
Within the conservative movement.
It says the one right above it. Article 4.
The congregation shall be affiliated with the United Synagogue. The religious services of this congregation shall follow the conservative form.
Correct. Okay.
So we're not going to vote on this by itself. We're now going to move into the bylaws. As I stated before, the Constitution, by the way, the lawyers had no comment on them. The bylaws have been amended many times over the years. The fact of the matter is that Jenny and I are not making amendments to the bylaws, but we're actually proposing almost a brand-new set of bylaws. However, I will go through just the changes, because there's a lot of things going on here. Did somebody have a question for Susan? Oh, it was a Susan. Okay. Article 1, membership. Going down to Article 3. The only real changes, we've said president of the board. And that everywhere. When we specified the board, it's usually, at president, we've said president of the board. Before, it said the president, now we're saying the president of the board. Did you see that, Sybil? Article 2. Any questions on Article 1? Article 2 was officers, We changed Article 2 to be Board of Directors. We rewrote this one. The Board of Directors of the congregation shall consist of a president, a treasurer, a secretary, and 2 directors at large. Qualifications to hold these positions are exactly the same as they were in the initial bylaws. The quorum for a meeting of the Board of Directors shall be 3 members. Because that's a simple majority. Duties of the members of the board. The president, this has really just been pulled up from the previous one. The president is the same as it was before. The secretary is the same as it was before. The treasurer is the same as it was before. All contracts and checks shall be by 2 of the 5 members. We've always had 2 signers. The board shall meet monthly as such. That has not changed. And that's, the board shall establish policy. That has not changed. An annual budget. That has not changed. The board shall not have power to purchase. That has not changed. The board shall have full authority to secure an employee. That has not changed. The board shall approve all matters in connection with money-raising efforts of its affiliate groups. That has not changed. Removal. Any member of the board absent from 2 board meetings, this paragraph has not changed. That is the end of Article 2. Any questions about Article 2? Yes?
Yeah, I think Article 2, instead of 5 members, should be 7. The reason I say it's 7 is because you're excluding Men's Club and Sisterhood Precedent.
We are not excluding them. It's, if you wait till we get to the end, you'll see how they're included.
As voting members of the board.
Wait till we get to the end. And if you feel you want to make an amendment of anything, you do see it when we're done, you can propose an amendment at that point. Okay. Marty.
Question. I'm just trying to get clarification on what congregational approvals are stated in the Constitution. I see 2. One is the disposition of real property,
Which we have none anymore,
but the language
has not changed.
is seemingly not changed, but is the intent of this language to include any disposition of real property other than purchase, sell, or mortgage?
Yeah, that's what it always has been. If you buy some property, the only way, now that's not, we're not talking about phones, we're not talking about copiers, we're not talking about those items. We're talking about real property. We're talking about real property, real estate.
Real estate.
Is the intent.
Okay, and the other thing is congregational approval is necessary for any changes to the Constitution or bylaws?
Always has been.
And amendments?
Yes.
Still going forward?
Yes.
Is there any other items that should be included in the Constitution that require congregational approval?
I don't believe so. There never has been any others, and there should be. We're not changing that Constitution except in the areas that we indicated. And by the way, the lawyers have not, they said there's no need to make any changes to the Constitution. They're happy with the way it's currently written. That's not so with the bylaws. However, their changes do not change the intent of the bylaws. They just put in the legal phrasing that makes it allows us to be compliant with the state laws.
First 1 or 2, they make 2 number 1 and 1 number 2.
That doesn't change the intent.
Exactly, I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah. They actually added a whole brand-new paragraph for number 1 of the bylaws, which has no... If it changed the numbering is not important at this point. And we're not discussing what the lawyer said anyway. Number 3. There's no further discussion on Article 2, I trust. So in Article number 3... Elections. This is slightly different, but intent is the same. The president shall establish a nominating committee consisting of 1 member from the board and 2 members from the general membership. And parenthetically, I'm including, as a parliamentarian, that can be even a board member. There can be 3 board members or 2 board members, but there must be at least 1 board member. There must be at least 1 board member. And the reason I'm saying that is we're not sure that we'll even be able to find 2 people that want to serve on the nominating committee that know enough about the congregation outside. If there are, fine. If they're not, we can't be stuck with 1-person nominating committee. Does that make sense? So that's our intent here.
Say that one more time.
Yes. The president is going to nominate 3 people, put 3 people on the nominating committee. Or perhaps the president will find a chair of the nominating committee who will then find 2 other people that will be approved by the, as it,
It has to be one way or the other.
it doesn't have to be any which way, whichever way it's stated. It's not stated clearly, and therefore I am ruling on it as parliamentarian that the general membership can be a board member who is in the general membership anyway.
No, but that's,
When does this
no,
nomination?
you said something different. You said that the president will appoint.
Yes. 1 member from the board and
No, you said will appoint.
establish a nominating committee consisting of, it says that right there. That's no different than the original wording that we had in the old one, Jenny. That's the same. We didn't change this.
No, but you said something different.
What I said just now is that the general membership includes the board members. True? So that if the president, Susan, is having trouble or desires, doesn't even have to have trouble, she can appoint 3 members, which would not be very political to do, prudent, but she could appoint 2 members from the board and 1 member from the general congregation. We're only talking about 3 people. And she may have trouble finding 2 members at large that want to serve on, we always have trouble finding people to serve on the nominating committee.
Question, this 3-member nominating committee,
Goes into effect,
that goes in effect when the new constitution goes into effect.
which is after this, at 3 o'clock today.
It does?
Yep,
The new constitution and bylaws take place.
instantly. Instantly, that's right. But you can still amend it. You can still amend it. It's not permanent, it's not poured in concrete, nothing is.
This is the general membership.
Yes, we're here. This is the general, this is what you see, is the general membership. By the way, there are 2 or 3 people online, that's it. Doris, one of them.
The other one.
Me. I'm online here. Okay. Where am I at?
Number 2.
Number 3, elections, sentence number 2. The nominating committee shall present a slate of nominees to the president consisting of president, secretary, treasurer, and 2 directors. That's pretty much what it always has been, except we trimmed it down to 5 individuals. Candidates for any elective office may be nominated by the membership at the congregation, of the congregation at the nominating meeting. That's pulled right out from the old one. Said candidates must be members in good standing. That means they have to be paid up their dues and through the month that we are in. So that'd be the month of March, because the nominating is held in April. They also have to send back in written notice not less than 3 weeks prior to the election if they're not at the nominating meeting themselves. 4, so that this is a little complicated, and I'm going to try to explain it. Because we're starting over again, we want an overlapping board so that the whole board is not changed out every year. So the way we've done that, and Jack helped a lot in this one because it was very complicated, so that not all officers and directors' positions turn over at the same time, the first election upon adoption of these updated bylaws in spring of 2022 will be for a president, a treasurer, and 1 director, each to have a 2-year term, and a secretary and 1 director to each have a 1-year initial term. The director was who receives the highest vote count shall serve a 2-year term, and the director who receives the next highest vote count shall receive a 1-year term. Subsequent elections for all positions shall be for the designated 2-year terms of office. Members of the board shall assume office on the first day of June, as always has been. Although sometimes we have the installation later, the fact of the matter is June 1st is the date they take office. It's simple. You see, you're waving your finger around.
You know, I don't know if this is the right place,
What's the question?
but so far, when I read it through and based on what you're saying, it doesn't say anything about husbands and wives serving on the board at the same time and that sort of thing. And I don't think that if you're having this few number of board members,
Then you make an amendment.
okay,
Officers and directors shall be elected by a simple majority of the votes cast. In the event no candidate receives a simple majority of the votes cast, the 2 candidates having the highest number of votes shall have a runoff election at that same meeting. All congregational meetings shall be conducted using in-person attendance at the meeting or mail-in ballots. There was a slight change to this from what the board wanted. They wanted electronic voting, but that would eliminate the secret ballot because you can't have it electronically and remain secret. Any questions on Article 3? Eileen?
How often can a person run for office?
We've taken away term limits. As often as you want. Would you like to be running?
No.
Okay.
But, yeah.
We're having trouble enough finding people, and so we're recycling the same people. If you want to run against them, be my guest. I'm sure not one of these people would say no. All right. Anything else on Article 3? No? Article 4, vacancies of members of the Board of Directors. In the case of a vacancy of an elected board member, said vacancy shall be filled by appointment by the remaining members of the board. We said that because maybe the president has been vacated. The appointee shall meet the qualifications of Article 2, Section 2, subject to the unanimous approval of the board. Such appointment shall be to fill the unexpired term of the vacant position. Questions? No. On to number 5. General meetings shall be held, and this is congregational meetings. Did I say that? Okay. Article 5, general congregational meetings. General meetings shall be held in March or April for nominations and in May for combined election and budget meeting. No change there. Special meetings may be called at any time by the board. That's this one today. Notice of special meeting shall be sent to the congregation at least 10 days prior to the date of the meeting. 3, only members in good standing shall be eligible to vote at the meeting of the congregation. To be in good standing, you have to be paid through the prior month. A quorum shall consist of now 10% of the members in good standing, because as you can see, 6 people is hardly, but we have more than 6 here. So if we went to 10% right now, that would be 11 people, I believe. Do we have 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow, we have 13 whole people here. And as I said before, to be counted in a minion, to be counted in a quorum, you have to be present. Let's see if there's any live people in live chat that are interested in talking. Oh, geez, I just lost everything. You want to try to deal with this? I just lost everything. Here. You can unplug it from the wire. You can unplug it. The mouse. I'm having Lou take over that part of it, as I'm too busy with this. Okay, all meetings of Temple Beth Emet shall follow the Robert Rules of Order revised. All members of Temple Beth Emet will be held both in person or virtually as needed. Questions on Article 5? Okay, Article 6. Committees. The president of the board shall appoint the chair of committees as is necessary to carry out the objectives and purposes of Temple Beth Emet with the approval of the board. 2, the committee chair shall select their own committee members. 3, committee chairs may be asked to attend and report at specific board of directors meetings, but shall do so in an ex officio capacity without a vote. Any questions on Article 6? Yeah, these are committees, not affiliates, because we have another section all on affiliates. This is if the president, oh, wow, how does the rabbi stand here? Well, he's not here. Yes, he is. On Yom Kippur, he is. One day, yeah. Okay, so say we have 100 kids in USY. The president can appoint a youth commissioner. Yeah, that's right. That's the type of thing we're talking about. There used to be standing committees. We did away with the standing committees because we don't seem to be able to deal with that. We don't have enough people. So now but if the president and the board decide there's a need for a committee, maybe there'll need to be a committee for the gala affair coming up in August. Okay, appoints a committee for it. Appoints a chair. The chair brings on their own committee. And the chair doesn't have a vote, as they don't today. Okay? What? If they have a tie? We don't wear ties anymore. The chair of a standing committee does not have a vote. There's no standing committees per se. They don't have a vote at the board. They still have a vote in the congregation, of course. Okay, here's the affiliates. The congregation may sponsor.
Barry, I have a question on that. From based on what you were saying. You're telling me religious issues aren't going to be discussed anymore? There's no religious committee?
We didn't say that. I didn't say that the president's not going to appoint a religious chair. That chair will not have a vote on the board, but will report to the board. We're downsizing.
A religious chair may bring questions to the board. Or reports.
Well, how, after we pass this, how do we know how many committee chairs the new president will?
We won't know till they appoint it. There's no standing committees. Yeah.
People can still go to board meetings.
You don't look satisfied, Marty, with the answer. Okay, affiliates. The congregation may sponsor affiliate groups, example, Women's League, Men's Club, and other groups as are commonly associated with congregational work. Said affiliates organizations shall be governed by their own constitution and bylaws, which shall, however, be subject to the approval of the board and shall be submitted to the board for such approval before adoption by the affiliate groups. That's right out of the original bylaws. 2, membership in affiliates groups shall be open to the congregational members and non-members whose views are consistent with the constitution and bylaws of the Temple Beth Emet. It shall be the purpose of these affiliate groups to strengthen Temple Beth Emet and forward its objectives. 3, in event of conflict, the constitution and bylaws of the Temple Beth Emet shall be the ruling constitution and supersede those affiliate groups. It's all right out of the original bylaws.
Sisterhood, yeah, I said it earlier. Men's Club and Sisterhood, do they have a vote on the board?
Not according to this. Any member of the board may be removed from, okay, removals, number 8. Any member of the board may be removed from the office for cause and upon a majority of the membership of the board at a meeting called for this purpose, except as otherwise provided. The board member shall receive written notice at least 2 weeks in advance of such meeting. 2, a member of the congregation may be expelled by a vote of 4 members of the board at any regular or special meeting after due notice. An opportunity to be heard is afforded to the affected member. This, by the way, has only happened once in my recollection in 50 years of congregation life. 60. 65. I'll go. Going for 70? Anybody want? Bid 70? Okay. It has not happened very, very often, very infrequently, for major reasons. Any question? Number 9, excuse me, amendments. The amendments to the Constitution and bylaws may be proposed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's no change to this at all from the original. Are we ready for a vote?
So if you want to make an amendment.
You can do that after the vote.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to vote on now, and then here's, you want to, Karen, you want to pass out the ballots? If they, you didn't bring any with you? You didn't say that we had to bring them with us.
Barry, what's your foot?
Any comments from outside?
Anybody who doesn't have
We have
them?
no outside comments.
Nobody want to speak?
Get a pen?
Don't sign it. Yes, then sign the large. You don't need the third.
Only need 2 envelopes.
I will collect the ballots. There are 3 envelopes, a small, medium, and large. You don't need the large envelope, you need the small and medium. That makes a secret ballot. You do it?
Yeah, I give it to Karen in the office.
So now, when they, would you want to get sets? We don't know which ones are.
I get it, I can see it, I see it, I'm not blind. I'm just, I mean, they need to work it out. And she's saying this, and when Nina came in, I have to have anticipation when what shows up. I know, but Polly's still doing what she can and cannot. She says, I want to go this way. I guess it looks, okay? And can you imagine Nina not wanting to? She doesn't like Mississippi. She wanted to bring more attendance. You know, she writes something, she puts it on there.
If you remember from before, you ought
Because that's got to be a reason. Because you know what? Any kind of quality together. She has to have her say she goes to a facility, so if it costs $6,000.
He had a food, he had a tray, so you'll remember. And make sure Jamie is sitting there.
say who it presented. I read it like 3
And
times.
let her just tell her no. And you let her know that there's no quality of life.
According to this meeting, this past, bring it up later. Right now, board director is 12.
I tried to get down.
5 to 7.
She goes to them.
I'm going to call the meeting back to order. Okay, the results are 37 yea votes, 5 nay. Constitution and bylaws have been passed. Is there any further business? Otherwise, okay, wait. Where's Susan? Take over the meeting. I'm done. That's it for the bylaws and Constitution. Not by board members, only by non-board members. Board members approved unanimously for this, and that's the way it is.
I thought the amendments have to be at the next board.
No, they can make an amendment now, but it has to be passed by 2/3 of the present people eligible to vote.
Wait.
What?
If someone has an amendment right now,
They can turn, this group has to approve it, then it has to go to the executive board, the board, and the next
that's okay.
general
but that-
constitution.
If they
Next
approve it
congregation.
here, it's not a done
Oh,
deal.
this is done. This part's
Yeah,
done,
but
this is
it still
approved.
has to go through the process. if
Then
someone has
any
an
amendments, just like these amendments, have to go through the process.
Okay, so do we have an amendment?
Yes, I have an
Mark?
amendment to change Article 2:1 to include voting rights for the Men's Club president and sisterhood president. So instead of 5 members of the board, 7 members of the board.
They must be Jewish.
Of course.
They can be discussed at the executive board, and decided to pass on or not.
What?
The amendment can be accepted, has to go through the executive board, the board, and then finally to the.
Okay, so Mark, say that again, which article was
Board of
it?
Directors of the congregation shall consist of a president, treasurer, secretary, and 2 directors at large, and presidents of Men's Club and Women's League.
Okay, hold on.
Page 2 of 11.
Okay, so, and you said, and presidents
Of Men's Club
of
and Women's
men's
League.
clubs and women's league. Okay. Before we go on, Sybil, you had an amendment?
I don't know how to phrase it though, so somebody should help me.
Well,
I don't think that, a husband and a wife or 2
Oh,
people
yeah.
living in the same household
okay,
should be allowed, that it's,
okay. So, Jack, where do you, or Barry, where do you think that should go?
I'm not sure, I'm not sure what, I don't know. You're saying 2 votes is a family membership?
No, she's talking about board members.
serving on the board.
Under the list of,
And you, I mean, I don't, 2 husbands, 2 wives, or 2 people living in the same household.
So you're, what you're effectively saying is Jenny and Jim should serve on the board.
Correct. It used to be that if 2 members from the same family couldn't be on the board.
it was never in the bylaws, but it was kind of an unwritten rule.
No, it's not. We have 2 examples right here in this room.
I know that, I said it never used to be, but then in recent time, when there were less people available to do things, we have gone to husband and wives on the board.
I mean, Polly Levin and Ed Levin and served on the board
It's been for years.
for years.
Yes, but you know what, how many people did we have on the board? 20 some odd.
Right, we had
Well,
large.
when you have a board with 5 or 7 people, I do not believe
Okay, so,
that 2 people from the same household, is that the way?
That would be,
That would mean that your son and you could not serve at the same
Yes,
time.
that's right.
From the same family.
That would be a new article, would not?
okay, that's what we said, no husband or wife, or,
It would be a new section, not-
Yeah.
No, may I,
yes, Jeff.
if you'll accept the wording?
I will accept consideration of awarding.
2 people from the same family unit, because we count membership by family units.
I can tell you what we changed, it would be.
Wait a second, 2 people from the same family unit
Cannot serve at the same time.
cannot serve on the same board. Okay, Karen, would you say that,
It got changed after Gwen and Joel Berger were on the board, that's when they changed it.
and that's been before my time even, over 30 years, I think.
Well, it's irrelevant.
I know, it is, you're right. No, I agree, okay. We understand.
Also,
What else?
I'd like to, another amendment. I understand there are no serving committees, but I do think there should be a religious serving committee. I think it should be there. I mean, we don't need
You're talking about
housing.
standing.
Yeah, standing. I think religious needs to be a standing committee.
Do you think there would be a board that did not appoint a religious committee?
You
Maybe
know
maybe
what?
that's what
Can I tell you what I was told 40 years ago? You can say anything you want, but when it's done, you have no control. And if you think it would be, don't count on it, because you don't know who's taken over. And I think you need a religious committee.
Yeah,
She's absolutely right.
absolutely,
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
So where, okay, so where should that,
Under
would,
committees,
what?
under committees,
Okay, hold on, let me get the,
Here, Barry, here, tell her where it should go.
15 copies here.
Oh, all right, just tell her where it should go. But I think we need a serving religious committee, maybe a rabbit search committee.
no,
Yeah,
Not necessarily.
No.
she's laughing, so.
no, all right.
Under Article 6.
Okay,
Article 6.
Yeah, Article 6, so then,
okay.
so what would be a good wording to say that a religious committee should be required?
There shall be a standing.
Okay, thank you. There shall be a standing
Religious committee.
religious
You just need 2/3 approval.
committee. Okay, so now, Mr. Parliamentarian,
Very,
we came up with 3 different amendments, right?
You want to vote them on all together or one at a time?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking you. What, Eileen?
What we talked about,
Well, I don't, well,
okay?
what thing is that under?
Guys, and
Under,
I'm not going into all the details, but if, God forbid, there's a problem with the congregant, before taking them out, before removing them, find out what is going on. Find out if there's a medical situation.
Well,
find out-
that's all,
That's
It's
it.
all part of the process.
Is it part of the process?
Yes, they said something in there about,
yeah,
They get to answer the reason.
It's in here.
Okay.
addresses that.
It did.
Find it, but we did address that.
Removal. A member of the congregation may be expelled by a vote of 4 members of the board at any regular or special meeting after due notice. An opportunity to be heard is afforded the affected member.
so that's basically what you said.
Okay, but I
and that's when they would have a chance.
But the person affected may not have
Then they can
the
have the representative.
ability to do that.
Then the representative.
I would hope that anybody running this show
Would not do that.
would treat people with respect.
And research if there's a problem,
Right.
you know?
I don't think somebody would be thrown out willy-nilly.
You could have been sitting in the phone.
In 65 years, it happened once.
Happened in another synagogue.
That was another synagogue. In 65 years, Beth Emet has been here a little over 65 years, it happened once.
That's correct.
Once.
Let me go back to what you did.
How many amendments have you got, Susan?
I think I have three. I have the one about the religious committee, the one about the Women's League and Men's Club, and the two people from the same family, so that's three.
Okay, I'm gonna ask everybody vote on all three together. Are there any others?
Well, I have a question. No,
Okay,
this
first
is
of all,
a
let's
real
find out,
question.
let's see if we can get 2/3 of this group to say they want these three amendments to go through. If
Just,
not, then.
Let-
we'll
let-
conduct it.
Discussion first before the vote.
What's your question?
the question is if you're gonna have a sisterhood and a men's club, and, well, they should be Jewish, because I know you don't have to be
You
Jewish.
can't sit on the board unless you're Jewish.
Fine, okay.
That's
But
already
in
stated.
addition, we have had husbands and wives on the board by position, not by
Well,
name.
then you're gonna take care of that in your motion, because then they can't sit on the board together, therefore the secondary person of the affiliate would not appoint, will have to appoint somebody else.
Yes?
And the president of the affiliates have to be Jewish. That was decided many years ago.
I just wanna make sure.
And they have to be a member of the temple.
And they have to be a member of the temple,
In good standing.
in good standing.
Okay.
Just like, did I mention his name? I shouldn't.
No.
There was a member of the men's club who was very active, was not a member, a member, but was not a member of the temple. He could not be president of the men's club for that reason, because he was not a member of the temple.
So well, okay. So if the president of the affiliate, this is just a question, if the president of the affiliate is the spouse of,
Then they'll have to assign somebody else.
does the sisterhood of the men's club able to assign a different person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're on the board, if there's a representative.
A representative.
Representative.
See,
Should say
Um,
president or representative.
It should say
getting back to the men's club and sisterhood
It should
business,
say representative instead of president.
Right.
when we were discussing these changes, I got the impression that each of the directors, one would represent one and one would represent the other.
No, not at all.
No?
No, not at all.
Oh. That they would,
They-
well, no,
they
but,
could, they could.
that they could, that if the women's league,
The president of one of the affiliates could be the second or third person on the board,
Right,
But they,
fourth or fifth.
but not
no,
required.
no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I meant they would okay, excuse
It
me.
has happened, Jenny.
It was not, that's not my,
It has happened many times.
I meant that they would report to the director, not be the director, that say, director number, wait, let me finish, please. Director number one would be have the Women's League president vote, reporting to that person, and that person would make their report. And Men's Club would report to the other director, and that director would do the report.
So it would be five. but
So it would still be five, but these people would be reporting to the
Not
director.
That's not the way the amendment reads.
The amendment reads,
No, I'm talking about the original intent of the five-member board.
because just because they go to that person doesn't mean that person is going to vote.
You're correct.
That's true, but Jack, yes.
Okay, a counter argument. Okay, you make your argument, now there's a counter argument. Beth Emet is no longer in a position to do things the way we've always done them. That's sad, it's kind of grieving and mourning, but it's true nevertheless. Okay, we cannot do things the way we've done them before. Okay, there's not enough people to go around. Okay, there are, okay, we have to,
Well, let Jack finish.
we have to look at ways to do what build in automatic memberships for this, or this, or this, whether it be men's club or women's league or religion or whatever. You're electing 5 representatives to represent the membership of the congregation. If you elect the right people, they're gonna know enough not to do something stupid. They're gonna know enough to have a religion person. They're gonna know enough to listen to the men's club, to listen to the women's league, to get their input. Not everybody has to be on the board. You're just encumbering the board with additional people that are not necessary to the governance of the organization, and give a little faith and credence to your elected officers.
Jim had his hand up before, then Lou, I'm sorry. Jim?
I understand what Jack is saying. However, the membership of the Women's League and the Men's Club are the most active members of this temple. And we want to be sure that they have something to say in the governance of what's left. Not that what's closed down, but what's left to continue on. And that's why I think that that motion adding a member of the sisterhood, calling
A representative.
Women's League and the Men's Club should be in addition to those 5 people. And that's what that motion is.
You're only adding 2 people. And you're adding,
No, it's a 40% increase.
Okay, Lou?
If you're going for it's only 2 people, I'm going for a 40% increase.
Jack, okay.
Here's-
Lou, let Lou speak.
I'm torn between this amendment because the goal of where we're moving, okay, the direction is, you know, you talk about a religious committee, that's our goal, is to keep services. Become a Shabbos shul, we're gonna maintain our service, we're gonna maintain our people. And yet the affiliates, as Jim said very eloquently, they're the critical members, they're the active members. So we need them, but we also don't need to have an unwieldy board, which is why we're trying to shrink it down so we can make decisions. Part of the mandate of the board of directors is to take what we have and keep it going as long as we have people interested in, you know, having services and activities at the temple, okay? It is critical that the men's club and the women's league is involved because they're here and they do things and they promote that. So it's the interest of, let us say for the sake of argument, we stay with the 5-person group. It's critically important to them, it's part of their mandate, to do everything they can to be inclusive and to take into account the men's club and women's league. That probably makes up more than 50% of the active members when we come down to the people who are really doing stuff. So either way, I think they're included. I am concerned about adding 2 more members because it just makes it that much harder to get together, that much harder to get things done. But I also understand the argument and the point of view. So, you know, I think it's a good argument, good thing to put forward, but I want you to keep in mind that the more people we add, the more difficult it becomes to get things done. And our purpose, which is, I think, everyone's goal who's really interested in carrying the temple forward, is to keep things going and to have services and to serve those people who are members of our congregation. That's in the interest of the affiliates, that's in the interest of the board and the membership. So, again, I think we just have to make sure that that mandate of what our purpose is part of whoever makes up that 5-person board. If we go to 7, it's under.
Okay, one question.
Affiliates, that's fine with me too, but I think it'd be a lot easier to deal with 5.
Okay, wait, Mark, you were the one that did the amendment about men's club and women's league?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm writing it. Yes. Okay, well, okay.
I'll just,
Ruth?
the other point is that Women's League and Men's Club, who are the active members of the shul, make sure that they vote in their representatives.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
call for the question.
Yes.
Yes. Second.
Okay, so,
Read them back, make sure you know what they are.
All 3 at one time.
okay.
Yes.
One, there shall be a standing religious committee, right?
Right.
There is that,
You can work on the verbiage later 2 people from the same family cannot serve on the same board.
Number 3.
And when it says members, there will be a representative from Women's League and Men's Club to the Board of Directors.
On the board.
Or, well, it's on the board, as members of the Board of Directors.
As members of the board.
Yeah, as members, okay.
Making
Okay.
a total of 7.
Okay,
Well,
did we
wait a
vote?
minute, if you added the religion, wouldn't that?
No, they're not, no. That's a committee, that's a committee.
It's not a director, no.
Yeah. Okay, call for the question, Barry.
I'll call for the question for, I'm gonna vote individually.
Okay,
Everybody in favor of number 1, raise your hand.
what's number 1?
Religious committee,
Standing?
standing,
Standing,
religious committee.
Okay.
Number 2. What was number 2?
Well, aren't you gonna have?
2 people from the,
All those opposed? Okay,
so what were the numbers on the standing religious committee? But
2/3. That's not what, 2/3, I believe.
Yes.
How many people do we have here? Did anybody
We have
count?
We have 11 people here.
Okay, now,
No, we had 13, once upon a time, I don't know when we had.
2, okay, now the other one was, they had to leave, so.
There's 14 people. There were.
They were, they had to leave. They were not-
Remember
they're not-
Karen?
They're not here at this time to form, we have 11, that's the number.
2 people from the same family cannot be on the same board. How many are there?
Yeah.
Count.
You can't vote.
Oh, I don't vote, fine, I don't vote.
So you should not vote, don't break or make. it-
Okay, then you count.
Well, Karen's not.
You can
To,
count.
You can't count the rest.
to make or break this.
They opposed? We're voting that they can't be? They can't be. I'm saying they can be.
Are we voting again?
Well,
No,
we voted.
no, it's
We
opposed.
voted already.
Opposed.
We'll vote again.
We're
Opposed.
doing,
Opposed
Yeah.
to the motion.
That means you're in
Starting
favor of.
over, I think we got confused
Couples
as to
can't
how
be on
we're
the board at the
voting,
same
so.
What are we voting on right now?
couples
Husband and
cannot be on
wife.
the board.
Husband and wife on the board.
Husband and wife cannot sit on the board at the same time.
But now we're being opposed.
Okay, start over again on number
Start
2.
over, clear the
Okay,
decks.
now let's.
okay, we're gonna start over about the religious committee, right?
No, religious committee passed. We're gonna send that to the.
Okay,
Number 2, vote, raise your hand if you're in favor of Sybil's motion that couples cannot sit on the board, families cannot sit on the board. Okay, how many in favor of families can sit on the board? Abstentions. 1 abstention, 4 against. It fails.
okay, that one failed.
3rd one,
There shall be a representative from Women's League and Men's League on the Board of Directors.
to vote. With
To
a
vote, yeah, well, they should, I
All-
said they shall
all
be
in favor.
members.
Okay.
All in favor?
In favor.
Opposed? Wait, count.
Wait, keep your hands up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Opposed? That fails. Didn't get through. Okay,
Opposed?
meeting
No,
adjourned.
I gotta get, I
How
think
do you
you're
get that?
how do you,
No, no, no.
I don't think you're
What's
right.
2/3 of,
Of 11.
I'm
of
not,
11?
I didn't say the myth, I think you counted it wrong.
Do it again, do it again.
Okay, do it again. All in favor of couples? of
Jim,
women-
you voted twice, well,
Yeah,
against.
you can't vote twice.
Sure you can, you can vote 5 times.
Just, okay, you know what?
I voted in favor of the motion.
Okay.
You voted again.
Do it, okay.
It was very confusing, okay.
Yeah, we had
What
15
Well,
votes.
You're gonna vote on, if
It's
you,
not confusing. All
That-
in favor?
Listen to Susan.
if you agree that 2 people from the same family should not.
No.
This is the affiliates.
Oh, I thought we were still on, okay, affiliates.
Okay.
If you want,
Expand the board.
Women's League and Men's Club to be on the board, basically that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay?
7.
Now, how many opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, so, then it passed, if it's 7 people, isn't that 2/3 of 11?
How many people do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And 7 people voted yes.
Yeah, but, okay,
Okay.
so, but that, then that passed.
It passed. It passed.
I guess we're good, so,
Russ is leaving.
Hey, Jim, what is it? 4,